with that said, with that warm introduction, we'd like to welcome you, Tongo, to our school, Life Learning Academy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is my first conversation of the day. Wait for the vocal cords up. Couple poems. You can tell by my tires that not everybody who's driven with me is still alive. Also that I like my drinks neat bottled and in a bus stop. Also that we drown in precinct paper, department store floor plans and applications to the moon. And we can change the color of our snot from gifted to heart attack and tell you about ashes, but where are all these angels coming from smelling like the cigarette that fails? And why is the man on the safe side, these headlights freezing up? You got nothing to say at my funeral, I'll speak on your behalf. Heroin in my smile, mountain made of flatland robbery among some things on my mind. The last store run in the name of shared afterlife, Friday to the filter. I'm a tall tale on earth, but here's to that angel that never appeared to America. And a night of dog paddle and a batch of hangovers looking for a home. You know, a lot wouldn't live this long. That's my human offense to speak. On a pair of rambling dice that got unique tempers and young souls that say, shut up about our city. Here, tidal months crash over a coast. Why lie? The streets' teeth are in pieces. There's reservoir art on the faces of stragglers. There's sad news from back home that means we have to grow up on his behalf. Stumble back to a car full of glass stand. The truth is stale, but still liquor. Mission Street will be proud of me. I'm a mirror man, almost organized. Remember when my lungs would wake up last walking on morning if it was worth it? Man, I'm 3 decades homeless. And reservoir art is all I ever see. And I'm 2,000 miles from my first fight. Maybe no one really survived. Maybe I wrote my first poem for no reason. You know, apparently, too much of San Francisco was not there in the first place. This dream requires more condemned Africans, to put another way, state violence rises down, or still life is just getting warmed up, or army life is looking for a new church and ignored all other suggestions, or folktale writers have not made up their minds as to who is going to be their friends. You know, this is the worst downtown yet, and I've borrowed a cigarette everywhere. I've taken many a walk to the back of a bus that led on out the back of a storyteller's prison sentence, then on out the back of slave scars, but this is my comeback face. I left my watch on the public bathroom sink and took the toilet with me. Threw it at the first bus I saw, eating single mothers half alive. It flew through the bus line of it and on out the front of the White House. Hopefully you find comfort downtown, but if not, we brought you enough cigarette filters to make a decent winter coat. A special species of handshake, let's all know who's king and what's the lifespan of uniform cloth. This coffin needs to quit acting like those are birds singing. I mean, rusty nails have no wings, have no voice other than that of a white world down there. Book pages in the gas pump, catchy, isn't it? The way 3 nooses is the rule, or the way potato sack masks go so well with radio codes, or the way condemned Africans fought their way back to the ocean only to find waves made of 1920s burnt up piano parts, European backdoor deals, and red flowers for widows who spent all day in the sun mumbling in San Francisco. Red flowers, but what's the color of a doctor visit? There are book titles in the streets. Book titles like, Hero, You Make a Better Zero, or Hey Fur Coat Lady, the President is Dead, or Pay Me Back in Children, or They Hung Up Their Bodies in Their Own Museums, and other book titles pulled from a drum solo. Run here, hero. Lied to hiding place. All the bullets in 10 precincts know where to go. There's no heaven or another good idea in the sky. Politics means that people did it and people do it. Understand that when in San Francisco and other places that was never really there. I bet this ocean thinks it's an ocean, but it's not. This is 6th and Mission Street. I don't know who's king. King of thin things. You know, like America, I'm proud to deserve to die. I'm going to eat my dinner extra slow tonight in this police state candy dispensary you all call a neighborhood. No set of manners goes unpunished. Never mind the murderer's insomnia or the tea kettle preparing everyone for police sirens. A whole lot of God can happen in 3 seconds. Not much heaven, though. Here's a man before a fight. A leave me alone type character emerging from the painless death of a one-way street fix. This is a fancy way of saying I'm going to make it even if I have to drive backwards. And all I have is score chasing 1,000 backhands. Driving the street like I'm choking it, car full of nephews, hasn't been a sun since November and there hasn't been a street I can't choke to death. This city better back down. You see this gun on the table? And something about staring into it off your step. Why would I protect everyone? All my death sleep late, my son better be quick, my daughter better shoot first because we fall for no one, we fall for nothing, okay? The first thing you'll feel is the heat. It's like it would tell me, trying to tell me about possession. Drink life need is what I'm mostly hearing. Most of the world leaves me alone to breathe small like a giant to go to jail every once in a while when the genocide kicks up in late night when politicians have too easy a time when I'm guessing backwards out of one-way street in honor of myself and in honor of you. I mean, if you understand the nature of the world, how long I've been just like my father. One hell of a resemblance says the anxiety of the neighborhood. This is a crossroads or a crossroads narrative, but so much crossroads people get in the habit of turning back only to find themselves remembering me, but not my last words and then before a fight, to feel the heat. But there's nothing to keep in mind There's nothing to remember, really. There's nothing to be. There's just this moment, then another, then stare, then it all becomes stable, then the table lets go fuzzy, and Friday's an unfamiliar face peeking in the window. It's cool to panic for a second. Composure is wasting on your worst enemies. People are marked on that sidewalk. You the only thing life-size. Everybody knows it's in a wire hanger empire. When the blood stops walking, that feeling isn't father enough to be permission to foes. You know that father of yours rose from the grave and said, just give me 5 more minutes. He said, running water is a myth. It's us who are running up, down, all alongside this water. And people don't rise from the grave. They're not laid down either. It's us who flip all around their bodies. So beware when the people around you all look like they about to jump. It might be your time. You'll feel the heat. And when 4 walls demand to be 4 walls and the earth outside mutes, don't panic. Don't try to recreate the earth outside. Don't tell jokes to yourself. Don't even talk disrespectfully to the 4 walls. Instead, unclench your fist and walk away. It might be heaven if you understand the nature of the world.
Questions? Yeah. Do anyone have any questions?
I've said it a lot, but really, it's actually it's not as difficult as the speed might make it look. I saw a video on a musician's mind, how a musician's mind works. And it said the musician's mind is no other mind like a musician's mind because you have all these kind of memories cooperating at the same time. So, you know, we have multiple kind of memories. We got emotional memory, muscle memory, the to-do list memory, right? And so they all come together, you know, not in the exact same way because it's not as physical, just saying poems, not as physical as playing something, but along those lines, multiple kinds of memory cooperating. So it's not as difficult as it looks. It's just a matter really of trying to relax. You know, I'm going fast or my go through intensity. I'm actually just constantly trying to reset myself. See what I'm saying? As I go along. So over the output or the, what do you call it? The sum total or the aggregate, you know what I'm saying? Looks like a lot, but actually it's built of what do you call it? Like it's built of easy chunks, right?
What was your life like before poetry? How did you get into poetry?
Man, you know, there was a whole lot of life before poetry. It was kind of something I just kept up the sleeve, but it wasn't like central to my identity, you know. And so I was I was a late bloomer in that regard. But a lot of my time was spent just teaching. Yeah. Yeah.
What inspired you to write poetry?
Man, I'm just afflicted, man. Yeah, I can't even help it. You know, it just like it jumps into my brain. Ever since I was little, man. You got the same affliction? Nah, be careful. Be careful. All that start with just hearing it. You listen, you know. Like I heard a Langston Hughes poem when I was little, and man, it's been on ever since then. Yeah.
The way that I interpreted Garbage Day, is there a wrong way to interpret it or no?
That was you?
Yeah.
Perfect. That was exactly Hey, look, and my poetry gets misinterpreted a lot, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, hit it on the head. Well, not misinterpreted, but you know, people see all kind of things. I hate to break it to them, like, ain't really. Absolutely correct.
Would you consider poetry your career, or do you have anything else in mind?
I would consider, I'm like a political organizer as well, right? So I look at the little world and I'm like, okay, that's not fair, that's not fair, and that's not fair. And then I set my mind to doing something about it, I would say that's like even with the poetry. Or in a way cooperates, you know? Because it's not necessarily, I don't know how to put it, but, you know, we have different ways, we feel different ways. Sometimes we can be different people. The longer you go, the more like, it's like these different voices start cooperating. And so, you know, it's kind of one output, or really one attempt to just be a whole human being, right? And not live like, I don't want to be like, okay, this is me doing what I have to do, and this is me doing what I want to do, and this is me doing something when it's fun, and blah, blah. Like, I want it to be all one thing, you know? And then you come to understand, like, well, I can't be a whole human being if everybody else is not a whole human being. So it's like, okay, well, now what do we got to do? Well, we have to organize and blah, blah, blah. See? So that's what I would say.
You're a very, like, human, intuitive person, and, like, about fairness. So, what is your perspective on society?
We have a very, very small number of people who are in charge of a great big number of people, and basically have been using power to just exploit us for centuries, and have to enforce that exploitation with violence for centuries. And so, you know, we're just in a, and what's kind of rough is, now it's even to the detriment of, what they call it, the biosphere, you know. Like all living matter, from here to as high as living matter gets us in trouble based on the way that society is run, right? So it's like we all, what's almost accelerated is like we all have to step in to the historical process, right? Because we understand, like right now, it's being created. What's going to be read right now? the Bay Area and they have some conversations and they decide something needs to be done. Like you're in the middle of history, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, well, now the question is, well, how are you going to enter the historical process? Are you going to enter it just like passively, just going to let it happen, or are you going to intervene, you know? And if you look at like snow in Berkeley, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, like, come on, we got to intervene, you know? So it's like, this is a time where, and I feel bad, I do. Because when I was y'all age, a long time ago, you know, my little generation, we had time to, you know, we could have a more kind of like relaxed, or we thought we could have a more relaxed time. But y'all, they set y'all right down in crunch time. Y'all came a little too late, you know what I mean? It's that to do but the right thing. So, you know, it's just like it's a time for all of us just to kind of like just wake up to what we have to do. You know?
I know a few people, well, at least my students, we've been talking about like poet laureate, like what is that? What are you doing? And then also, I know you were on a committee that's starting like youth poet laureate. Could you talk to those two?
I don't exactly know. You know. Now that I don't know, I looked it up. When they first like, oh, you're a poet laureate, right? I mean, this is a position I heard of. You know, it was like, okay, groovy. If anybody should be the San Francisco poet laureate, it's me. You know, that's fine. But then I looked it up, right, and it was like basically the first poet laureate was a poet who was adopted by the royal family. And I'm like, that's not really, you know, yeah, I don't know, it don't sound like my alley. But I think like the potential is just to be, really almost to be like a mass access point to poetry. So it's like when other kind of, I don't know, just other kind of institutions or other kind of people that usually don't have a life in the art scene want to access some poetry, then you can come see me. That's the best I've seen happen, you know. but you know, it is what you make it. Now I think it really is though, or what I've seen, it really is kind of what do you say, synthesized from the poet laureate's interests. So me, like, you know, I believe in education, so I'm like, okay, where can we put some programming together, you know? Other people might be like, oh, I want to do a bunch of public works projects. How can I, like, put poetry on the walls all over the place? It's just based on what you like to do.
Thank you. We have time for 2 more questions. Any other
Or
questions?
when I get to brag, you know.
Yeah.
And I made it on Google. You know, like, Google, it's like the recommended stories that just pop up when you put on Google. Like my auntie in Mississippi was like, man, you're on Google right now as the new poet laureate in San Francisco. And I got a Wikipedia page now.
Yeah.
You famous when you get a Wikipedia page.
That I did not make, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, I see one more.
yeah.
Do you have a favorite poem?
Of mine, if I do, like, but it's like in little eras, like, you know, for a little while it'll be this poem, then for another little while it'll be another poem. And it's usually just the poem that moves me the most, you know. Right now it's a poem called Third in the World. Yeah. I don't know if y'all know that.
Who wrote that?
Who wrote it? Oh, me. Oh, you talking about other people?
No, I was talking about you.
Yeah.
So like your favorite poems be the ones that you like put the most into?
Well, that's
Well,
the
like-
thing, man. It's you know, it's almost, you know, it's something crazy. It's actually when I'm writing, it's kind of the same zone most of the time. It's the same zone, like, you know, because it's based on just habit and practice and like. You know, like I write for like 2 hours a day, and it feels mostly the same. Then it just so happens on the back end, I mean, it's almost just like life. You have a general approach to life. This is how you move and groove, and every once in a while something really trippy happens. It's like similarly, writing, then something really moving to me happens. And that will be the one for a little while. And then it kind of runs out of juice a little bit. And I'll go to
Like it runs out of significance?
not significance, but I think it's just like get used to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Where's one of your favorite places that you've read your work?
The New Eurekan Poets Cafe in New York. It's like this, it's like one of the meccas of poetry, and it's like this beautiful. It was back in New York, you could buy a building for $1 when it was all like kind of bombed out. The industrialization had run amok. They were just knocking buildings over. And so these poets, actually the operation started in one of their living rooms, this cat named Miguel Algadine. And they got their hands on a building, and it's like brick walls all around, and it's this little stage, but they jam like 200 people in there, and it's just like the energy there, like people, it's like people at the stage, like people come sitting all the way up to the stage to even sit down on the floor. It's just like you, and then 200 people starting here and around, and it's just like, there's no energy. Like, I mean, I feel some good energy in places, but it's like energy guaranteed, you know what I mean? I like that.
So I hear you say you write for like 2 hours a day. Is that when you enter into that workspace, that creative mindset, is it the same time each day? Is it just when it strikes your feeling, or do you have a routine like before?
I do best with routine, you know, but then sometimes it depends, you know. It used to be at night a lot. That used to be kind of late, you know. Well, late for me. Like midnight to 2 in the morning, that would be the good lot, but then, you know, as you get older, that is not the ideal time to be doing anything except sleeping. And so it moves, it shifts around. But I go like in spurts with a regular time, and then it might like change for whatever reason. But I should emphasize, it's not really it's what I learned, the best way to go about it is to learn how to write regular. Just to be exactly where you are, not to look for ideals, states of being, just like, cause it's just like anything, just like in life, just learn how to just deal with a moment exactly what you kind of like I could try to, okay, now is my time to talk inspiredly to you all about poetry. It's not gonna work because that's not how I'm feeling, you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, this is weird, I have not talked to anybody today, you know what I mean? And now we're having this conversation. But staying natural in the pocket, then I can facilitate the more insight. So similarly, it's just like, because really what art does is really just show you how kind of smart you naturally are. And also show you how, you don't have to be corny, but it show you how magical reality really can be, you know? And it doesn't require a heightened state in order to see it. All you gotta do is just relax into it, and you know, okay, that's interesting, that's interesting, that's interesting, and then just and put it down type of thing, you know. So that's why it's best. Like, and I learned that, just got lucky, stumbled onto it through the time, and I got that through a conversation actually my brother had with this writer, and he was telling him about something, and the writer was like, bro, you want to be a writer, you got to write for hours a day, you know. I can't do hours, but 2, I can do that. So I put the timer on. And I used to be like, okay, here comes the inspiration, And the first day, I was doing it, and I wrote something, and it was really like uplifting. And I looked down at the clock, and only 15 minutes had passed. So I'm like, bro, what we gonna do for the next hour 45? And it was in that, really that dejection or that frustration that a whole new style was born. Because now it's just like, okay, okay, what's going on? You know, yeah, that's one of the main tricks. It was like almost like whatever you do, whatever you choose your craft to be, you just learn how to make it cooperate with every aspect of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Oh, he got
Profound gratitude for being among those who share. Profound gratitude for being among those who share their story and wisdom with our community. You inspire, move, and motivate us. Like that, yeah.
We right here.
I got you. I got you.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right.